welcome to the Rankin Report for Sunday, November the 13th, 2022. Thank you for joining me today. From the book of Isaiah, chapter 62, verses 6 and 7. On your walls, O Jerusalem, I have posted watchmen. They will never be silent day or night. You who call on the Lord shall take no rest for yourselves, nor give him any rest, till he establishes Jerusalem and makes her the praise of the earth. And from the book of Nahum, chapter 1, verse 8. But with an overwhelming flood he will make an end of Nineveh, which was an enemy of Israel in ancient times. He will pursue his foes into the realm of darkness. And finally, from Luke, the Gospel of Luke, chapter 18, verses 7 and 8. And this is at the end of the parable of the unjust judge. Jesus is speaking. And will not God bring about justice for his chosen ones who cry out to him day and night? Will he keep putting them off? I tell you, he will see that they get justice and quickly. However, when the Son of Man comes, will he find faith on the earth? Okay, the election's over. And before everybody gets all discouraged and ready to throw in the towel and thinking nothing's happened and all that, just hold on a minute here. There's some things you need to consider. And the first of these is that I sometimes think that we Americans view events far too frequently in terms of drama, or if you will, a blockbuster movie. And maybe that's why many of us were expecting a red wave in the last election. We were hearing stories about polls indicating that many of us were angry enough to throw every progressive out on their collective ear. And this is coming from the news media, and that's probably mistake number one right there, listening to these guys. And expected them to be washed away well, if you had in mind the journalist and her estranged father on the beach awaiting the tsunami in the movie Deep Impact, well, that's what I'm talking about. I'm guilty of it too. That was one of the things I thought of. We were watching so intently for the big dramatic moment that we may have missed the quieter, longer-lasting move of God, who waits for us to hear his still small voice and take our posts and our positions for the long haul. Let me remind you that several seats in Congress have flipped already from Democrat to Republican. Hello, Florida. And as the messes in other states' elections are sorted through, such as in Arizona, patriots stand the possibility of gaining at least one, maybe both houses of Congress. Now, I know the news media is saying that the Senate is still held by the Democrats. Well, do you really trust these guys? Let's just wait to see how it all winds up. A number of down-ballot offices, such as school boards, are also being won by irate parents tired of the craziness going on in the schools. Okay, the wicked were not stampeded out of office. Well, that would have been nice, I guess, but it means nothing. Nothing at all. What we are seeing is the beginning of not a red wave, but think perhaps that we're looking at a red tide, a rising red tide that will continue to build long after this year is over, and catching up in the next election and the next, and so on. Tides take time to build, but they stay longer. If those of you who live by the shore of a lake or an ocean, you know what I'm talking about. Now, the catch is that we will have to keep watching what is happening and continue to pray that the job would be finished. We as citizens are starting to return to our role in this system that God gave us of being the watchman on the wall. Remember, under this system, the people are the ultimate source of political power. And one of the reasons why things are in a mess right now is because we kind of walked away from that. But people are starting to return to these things. And as God told the prophet Isaiah, we must continue to cry out to him until the nation is firmly back on the course to fulfill the role he gave us in the earth. Proclaim the gospel to all the nations. The job is just beginning. And since the wicked usually never rest until they figure out a way to sneak back into power, we must not either. Recall in the book of Nehemiah that after restoring the walls of Jerusalem and the service in the temple of the Lord, Nehemiah was recalled back to Persia to report to the king, who gave him the governorship over that, the political governorship over the territory of Israel. And in Nehemiah's absence, the enemies of the Jews began to work their way back in until one of them was even was given a room in the temple. Once Nehemiah returned, the focus of his job, I should say, shifted from restoration to the maintenance of the restored order of things, in order to keep things from sliding back into the very conditions that caused Israel to be exiled from the land in the first place. So, we're going to be at this for a while. This is far from the end, and things are going to continue to grow. The tide is still rising. As long as we don't figure, and just chuck it all and throw in the towel and all that. This is the long haul that we are on, and we need to stay at it and ask God for the same fervor and energy with which we approached this election, only recognizing that God is still in charge of all this, and he does things his way, not ours. And while we get reacquainted to our role in this system, we must remember that our powerful friend, as Ben Franklin put it, continues to do what we cannot do, and he has a message for us. The tides know their place and their limits. I have none. So says the Lord. No king but Jesus. Independence forever. That's the Rankin Report for Sunday, November the 13th, 2022. God bless you. Have a great day.